Have you ever been adventuring in Elden Ring and suddenly reached a boss that just seems to stop you in your tracks and completely halt your progress? Bosses in Elden Ring can sometimes feel like a wall for people. There were plenty of bosses that I ran into where I felt like they were keeping me from continuing on to new things in the game, and I wish I had a better way to deal with them, especially when you've been dying to that same boss for hours and hours on end. Here now is the very first boss that has left several blood puddles in his wake, Margit, the Fell Omen.
These foolish ambitions to rest.
Margit is right after the first sight of Grace defending the entrance to Stormveil Castle. Now, if your first thought was to come in here completely over-leveled, that is a possibility. But if you're wanting to straight up beat the boss without resorting to over-leveling, I also brought a fresh level 9 samurai, which is the default level that you start with when you create a new samurai. I didn't level this character. I did, however, level the katana to I think +3 or +4, about the level you'd expect to be with this weapon after some light adventuring. The buffs I'm using in this fight are Golden Vow, which I have a video showing how to get, and a couple others right here, and a mixed physic. That's it. Now, whether you decide to use buffs or level your weapon, it doesn't really matter, as mastering the fight is the point, so that you can do it with any weapon. A few things to note about this fight. The first thing is that the story bosses use delayed attacks pretty frequently. These delayed attacks can cause you to panic roll early and pay for it by getting caught right after you're done. The second thing is that some attacks can chain into more attacks depending on your character's proximity, or almost in response to some of your weapon prompts. I can't prove that last part, but it definitely feels like there are input reads at times. Lastly, and this is in reference to Margit, he will include light daggers if you're too close to him. I will try to mention as many of these variations as possible. Now, the first move to watch out for is an overhead swing from Margit's right side, your left, to his left side, your right. If he turns his right side towards you and pulls the weapon back, he's going to swing from his left to his right. This move has a variation. Now, if you're close to him when he swings, he will then swing in the opposite direction. What is more likely to happen is if you stay further away, he'll throw light daggers at you. The daggers can be avoided by dodging from left to right. This variation can chain further by him leaping into the air, staying suspended for a brief moment, and then doing a plunging attack. He'll plunge with his pimp cane if he's still in the first phase. This move is punishable after he lands, provided you're behind him. If you're in front of him or to his side, he can quickly strike at you with a light dagger. He will sometimes do the Jordan air hang attack by itself, so be ready to get behind him and punish. Sometimes Margit will pull his right arm, your left side, back and swing his cane upwards. If you roll into this attack, he will follow up with a very slow stab attack to the ground. You can strafe around the stab and punish him shortly after. I never go for this attack as it requires you to instantly recognize the first attack to set up the punish for the second, so I prefer to keep a safer distance. The delayed ground stab can also have hard to read timing, so it can trick you if you roll too early or too late. If you're standing in front of him when he does the stray stab in combination, he will immediately swing his light knife to punish your punish, if that makes sense. There are also times when he will only attack you with light knives. When walking towards you, he can create a light knife in his right hand and quickly perform a double slash. Keeping your distance and not standing directly in front or to his side is usually the best option for avoiding the quick slashes. One big telegraphed attack is when Margit points his right shoulder at you and rests the staff on his back hand. This is one of those delayed attacks I mentioned. You'll want to wait until he launches towards you and he will slightly pull back just before he's about to swing. Roll into this attack and then prepare for a follow-up swing attack, which you can dodge into just as he's coming down with that second strike. Shortly after your punish though, prepare to dodge as he will do a tail swipe. Again, it's very important to roll into this attack as he can roll catch you if you try to roll away from it. You can punish after the second attack. Once you get Margit down to about 60%, he will transition into second phase. You'll know what had happened since he pulls out a light hammer and throws it over his shoulder. This is followed by him leaping into the air again and doing an AoE smash with it. Just like his other Jordan air hang attack, this one can be punished from behind. If you're too close in second phase, he can retaliate with his light hammer and sometimes roll catch you if you don't get enough distance from him. His other attack to watch out for in this phase involves a light sword in which he'll either use a straight stab by itself or use in combination with slashes and his cane. One combination is a straight stab with the light sword, then a backslash again with the light sword, and then an AoE ground stab with the pimp cane. Moves with the light sword and the cane combo can be hard to get away from, so I would recommend maintaining a safe distance unless you're sure that there's an opening for attack. Another light sword cane combo is when he points his left shoulder at you with the light sword over his head. He will start with the double slash from the light sword and cane, then swing around again with both weapons. The number of attacks is hard to deal with, but the hardest may be the delay before the final cane strike attack. Again, distance here will be your best friend. If you're too close, the number of attacks can be pretty overwhelming, and you may not be able to have enough health to survive it. This isn't all of his attacks, but that pretty much covers the ones that are continuously repeated. If you're persistent and not just rushing straight in, this boss can be defeated. And like I said, I brought in a base level 9 samurai with a +3 katana and beat him. Margit is one of the first bosses, but does a really good job at setting the player for the rest of the game, helping them understand phases, delayed attacks, and changing combinations. Anyway, that's it for this one. I hope this video was helpful, and if it was, please do the YouTube things. It helps out the channel and motivates me to make more of these things. Until then, present yourself well. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.
I shall remember the tarnished, smoldering